We're continuing to monitor the coronavirus outbreak, which has now claimed 14 lives in the U.S. and infected over 250 others here in the States. Joining us now to discuss the outbreak is Dr. David Thomas, a professor of medicine with Johns Hopkins and the director of the Division of Infectious Diseases. So I guess, Doctor, as you look at the disease, maybe to kind of reset things for our viewers here, what do we know, what do we not know about the coronavirus at this point? And has our understanding of the virus changed in the last week such that we can get a better handle as citizens on where and how this thing might spread?
Well, what we know is that it is, as anticipated, spreading throughout the country. We know how to test for it, and the test is becoming more widely available. And as the test comes online, there's more and more cases being recognized, not surprisingly. So those are all things that we know. We have a sense of how it's spread, and we have a sense of the severity of it from the experience in China, of course, and even in other parts of the world where the virus was before it came to the United States. So on those matters, we're fairly secure. But there's still a lot that's not known, including how you treat it and some other pressing issues like that.
If you could go back, what would you change? What have you been most disappointed in with how this has been handled?
Well, I would love it if we had a treatment and ways to prevent it, of course. I think that I'm not sure that any of what's happened, it would have been entirely preventable. So I'm not going to put blame on any particular action or policy. I think actually that a lot of incredibly talented people are trying very hard to stem this. In some ways, it's, as you might imagine, it's inevitable that a virus like this would spread around.
And Dr. Thomas, when you look at where things could be headed in the weeks ahead, we've certainly heard a number of folks in the medical profession saying that headlines are probably going to get worse. There are going to be more confirmed cases. And we hear the administration continuing to talk in terms of containment and this idea that the virus is under control. I mean, how would you characterize the spread of the virus? And do you have any expectations on how many cases we may eventually see here in the U.S.?
No, I'm not going to try to predict how many will occur. I think that efforts to stem its spread are going to constrain the infection. They have been successful, for example, in China, in constraining the overall spread and taking the bending the arc of the epidemic, if you will. So that, I think, we know that by doing something, there'll be fewer cases than if we did nothing at all. But travel can't be stopped, and the fact that one of the key issues, and I think you've hit on this before, is that this thing can be spread before someone has symptoms. So in contrast to a condition where all you have to do is identify people when they're symptomatic and then ensure that they don't spread it to others, that you can't do that this time. And so we can't lock our borders, and we can't prevent spread of an infection 100% when it can be spread before someone has any symptoms.
All right, Dr. David Thomas, Johns Hopkins professor of medicine and the director of the Division of Infectious Diseases. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for your interest.